Welcome to Wednesday, everybody. It's on the Perf Podcast. Adam and Adam coming at you once again, as always, talking about shooting stuff because, I mean, that's what we do. That's what we do. How are you doing, Mr. Maxwell? Are you, we actually both have like kind of a weekend just chilling. This hasn't happened in like a long time. I've been like cleaning the house and doing yard work for 2 straight days, which is pretty rare, and it's kind of a nice change of pace, honestly, because this place is getting to be a mess.
I just kind of wrapped up a quick road trip, a week road trip, in where I kind of lazily took my way home, and so I actually drove. I was working a little bit on Saturday, just getting home, but I had another customer throw up the bat signal. I was in Wichita, Kansas, and they were somewhere in Missouri. And so I was like, well, hey, man, if you want to meet up on Friday, just let me know, and I'll just like take the long way home and meet up with you. I've never been to Black Rain Ordnance, even though they're one of my customers. They order a lot of stuff. I process a lot of orders for them. And I know they're in Missouri, but they're in the part of Missouri where you could throw a rock and hit Oklahoma and Arkansas.
Interesting.
So I was like, I'll swing through Missouri, like thinking Kansas City, and it was way down there. But
I feel like Missouri, for some reason, all multi-gun matches in Missouri, regardless of what range they're on, they're basically in the middle of the state. And if you guys have ever opened up Google Maps and looked at Missouri and then typed in the word airport, none of those things are close to the middle of the state. So no matter what airport you fly into, you are looking at a solid 3-hour drive after you land.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of a bummer.
Yeah. But I drove it back. And whenever I'm going east-west on I-80, I always stop in at Brownells. They don't give me any kind of discount or anything like that. It's just like it's a good place to get out and stretch, and you never know what you're going to find in there. So I stopped at Brownells again, picked up some gunpowder, and then when I got home, I'd been thinking about this for a long time, but I got home and finally worked up my test batch of 4570 ammo, which is by far the most powder I have ever put in a case ever.
Is it like slow, like pistol powder, I assume?
No, it's, without going too far down the rabbit hole, ended up using a
slower rifle powder. Pistol powder
yes.
faster. For everybody listening, ignore what we just said. We don't want to blow up anybody's gun.
I was actually thinking about, because I was like, what powder do I use? And I'm going back and forth with my buddy Ryan. And Ryan, Vortex Nation Ryan. He's an encyclopedia in his own right. And I was debating, like, there's a bunch of personalities to 4570, depending on what you want to do with it. I want to shoot it out of a 16-inch lever gun, and which is kind of like all the rifle loads are set up for 24-inch barrels, so I'm kind of looking at that. There's subsonic 4570, which is a whole other thing, and then there's pistol loads for 4570. The reason I tell you that story is the subsonic loads, the recommendation from Hodgdon to shoot a 410 grain Hornady Sub-X is 13 grains of tight group.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I was like.
That's so messed up.
I'm like, really? I'm like, it feels like that's a lot of case for just a little snifter.
I was gonna say, can you even see the tight group in the bottom of the case? You have to look in with like a pen light.
You can't see that much tight group in there. And I'm thinking to myself, I have a bunch of tight group at home. I don't even need to go get a powder.
Yeah.
I ended up using Varget though, and so this is like the first time I've put more than 10 grains of powder, probably more than 6 grains of powder in a case ever. So like a big heaping spoonful of 50 grains of this, that, and the other. And I was like, when I'm doing pistol loads, I have an analog balance, like a legit, like like a scales of justice type powder scale. And so whenever I'm measuring my pistol charges, I'm like, how accurate is this thing? Like yesterday when I'm throwing these bigger charges and I'm trying to get it just right, I'm doing the calibration load, which Adam and I talked about before. Like progressive machines are not set up for trying different charges. They're meant for setting one charge and you go to town. So I'm monkeying around with this thing, trying to do some different charge weights. That thing is amazingly sensitive.
Yeah.
I was amazed how few grains it takes to throw that thing one way or the other. It was amazing. But yeah, that was my thing, and so I stayed up all night, just like doing my mad scientist project in the basement. I was super excited to go shoot him this morning at work, get some chronograph info because deer season opens next weekend. So I'm nerding out on this thing hard. And of course, threw my new suppressor on my Project Lever gun and shot a bunch of ammo, and said suppressor came loose. And what do suppressors do when they come loose?
They get baffle strikes.
Oh yeah, I baffle struck the F out of that thing. I was like, oh, well, that would make sense why my groups really suck all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and then we've fall has definitely set in here. They turned the heat off. All the leaves are falling down. They're combining the last of the corn, and everybody's starting to hide inside. So yeah, we did a little bit of chill, a little bit of hiking. Got some pizza on the way home. There's a new pizza joint in the next town over, so we had to try that out. And
does it hit?
It does. I would say I would put it at like a 6 or a 7 for like small town bar pizza. But solid.
Okay.
We're going to go there again, but when our friends and relatives come to town, it's not going to be like, oh my God, we have to go to this place for pizza.
It'd be like, oh, this is convenient.
Yeah, it's like, oh, hey, you want to pick up some pizza on the way home? Sweet.
Yep.
But so pretty chill weekend here for sure. And I am at home plate until we leave for PCSL. If nothing changes.
You got like 3 weeks home.
Yeah. So
nice.
I'm ready to buckle down. And actually, we haven't even got through the reads yet. I actually broke my PCSL gun this morning practicing. I had my it was the weirdest thing. I've never seen this before, but I have in my ADM, I have a Radian selector, right?
Yep.
I have it set for the 45-degree throw. And it's been in there for a little while. It's not like I just put this gun together. It's been in there a little while, but I don't have tens of thousands of rounds through it. But like the detent felt a little soft. I'm like, that's interesting. And like over the course of the session, no, that thing just goes round the clock. It just
it's straight whirly.
It's straight up whirly gigging in there. I'm like, oh, that's not. I'm glad.
Interesting.
I'm glad I found this practicing and not at the range.
So that's not detent pin or detent spring because it wouldn't over travel without or would it? No.
The detent has to be stuck in the lower somewhere. Like it has to have gone in and not like popped back out.
Yeah.
I have a flaccid detent is pretty much what I think.
Well, so
You're
I
welcome.
guess a trigger. No, there's parts of the trigger that will interface. I'm wondering if the safety, like the crossbar itself, has something going on because I think I remember that even if the detent is out of the gun, because I put guns together and forgot to put the detent pin in there before, I don't think it actually will do a full 360. I think it interfaces with the trigger at some point during that cycle. So there might be something else going on.
TBD.
I don't know. I'm curious.
As soon as we hit stop on this pod, like going back down there to figure it out. But
rip that thing apart and we'll see.
That's what we got going on.
Nice. Well, in other gun news, let's talk a little bit about Atlas because I have a problem with my Apollo, and it's not a problem that I thought I would ever have, and it's not a problem. Well, no, that is a problem that I thought I would have, and I do have, and I'm working towards fixing that problem as we speak.
Right.
But I have another problem, and it's a problem that I didn't think was a thing. So here's the deal. On my old STI, the fastest that I could split that gun was about a 16. I can
already know where
split
you're
it at
going.
a 16 pretty frequently. Occasionally, if I just like really get one to go, I can get like a 14 out of that thing. Never any less than that. Usually a 15 is as fast as it ever gets in a practice session. At that speed, I can shoot predictive pairs and I can see where the dot was the second time.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with the Apollo is I can very comfortably split 13s and 14s without really making an effort.
Mm-hmm.
And it happens fast enough that I can't see the dot both times. So instead of a predictive pair like you want to shoot, where you're not waiting for the dot to return and then sending it, you're just sending it twice, but you see where the dot was both times. I only see the dot once because everything happens too fast and my eyes can't process the dot quick enough to understand where it was the second time.
Yeah,
So,
I hate it when my race gun's too fast. That's
I know. So this is like, it's kind of an interesting problem because it like, inside of 5 yards, I can just put the dot on there and hammer, a 14 split. And I'm like, I didn't see it the second time, but I know it was there.
mm-hmm.
Between like 5 and 9, I actually have to intentionally split just slightly slower because I really do need to see the dot the second time. And if I just rip it as fast as I can, I don't see the dot the second time. So,
But do
and
the
it's
hits
usu-
land?
It usually.
Yeah.
So they're usually there, but occasionally they're not. And if they're
Oh.
not, I don't know that they're not until we're scoring targets.
Oh, so you got
know what I'm saying?
mystery mics.
Yeah. And well, it's not a mystery. I'm like, I can't believe those other 8 landed. So- but,
That's a perfect
so
double.
it's usually there, but sometimes they're not. So it's an interesting problem that I'm having here.
Yeah, like it's kind of like I've been talking about on PCS or PCCs lately. It's like I swear
Yep.
those guys are just double tapping the gun on one sight picture and they're getting alphas to land, and it's
Yeah.
infuriating and amazing all at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, and I think there's a slight difference with PCCs because on a pistol, regardless of how quick it returns, there is dot movement that
Oh,
at a
yeah.
certain distance will take you out of the A zone.
Oh yeah.
Where on a super highly tuned, bearing delay PCC these days, the dot doesn't actually leave the A zone.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get away with that. But on a
Yeah.
pistol, occasionally you just rip one out of there. So
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
so that's my Atlas news for the day. But
My
we need some
Atlas,
Briley news.
the
What do you got
Atlas
for
is
us, buddy?
too fast. Wow, just go ahead, hit 3 for customer service, and I'm sure they'll get you taken care of.
Slow it down for
Yeah.
me. It's like, less oil, heavier trigger spring. Well, what do you got for some Briley today, buddy?
I'm excited on Briley because honestly, if you recall, I have a new old Briley shotgun, modified gun for next year, and I haven't shot it yet because I've been waiting for the barrel to come back.
Ooh.
And I got word the other day that the barrel is finished, or other barrel is finished, and off to blue. So I am greatly anticipating getting that thing all put together and try to ride the Lightning on some shotgun action. Although it's going to be way too cold for any of that here pretty soon.
Yeah.
But haven't done any pattern work with it yet or anything. But I'm kind of excited for that gun to all come together after they backboard the barrel and mainly did a port job, did porting on it, and then removed the rib. So I'm curious. See, I've not shot a ribless barrel to date, so I'm curious to see how that chapter of shotgunning goes. Because
Do you think it's going to be any different?
I do, but also like right at the end of the season there, people were like, "Yeah, well, but it goes the other way too. Like it heats up and it droops." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So there might be some combination of amount of rib you want and don't need, but like, so you need to cut some off, but not cut too much
Just
off.
cut every third post.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if that's what we're doing, and if we do that, then of course there's going to be a bunch of like sharp hooks or whatever to rip apart every gun case that I have. So not stoked on that either. But yeah, it was kind of like well, just cutting it all off, it might not be the answer to it. It might be some combination of cut it off and leave it on.
Well,
That's
I think there's
chapter, I think.
Yeah, there's two things in play here. One is I think IPSC shotgun stages I don't think are large enough to cause real heating shift issues to the extent that, because what we're really talking about is slugs.
Yes.
Like slug impacts at distance is really the problem here, and I don't think. I mean, is there a 32 round slug stage in any IPSC shotgun? Like, what's the biggest a slug stage can be?
Well, there were.
I think the biggest we shot in Texas was like 12. I'm trying to remember the stage.
I can't
1,
recall.
2,
There were a
3,
couple slug
4, 5,
stages
6,
at
7.
Heartland
Yeah, like
that
12.
hurt people's feelings, mine included.
Yeah.
I also just think I just
Well,
had
there's
a
also
zeroing issue on that one also.
I mean, if you're worried about shift, there's also the nuclear option of slug barrel board out.
you know, they call it doomsday for a
that,
reason. You hit the
I
nuclear
bet
option.
that does fix it.
Yeah.
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 I'm confident that fixes the barrel droop or barrel rise problem.
Even with our affiliation, that price tag hurts my feelings.
It does. It does. It's stingy. But hey, I mean, you're flying to Greece, so.
Well, somebody asked me the other day, like, is it worth it or whatever? And I was like, I don't know how you feel about $1,600. Like,
Yeah. Like, do you like money? Yeah. No.
Or even better, I got asked by someone on the LE side. They're like, hey, what's the best red dot mount on a shotgun? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, the Viper, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, he really wants to mount it to the vent rib. He's like, is that not cool? And I'm like, yeah, that's not cool. Unless, however, I sent him the link to that barrel. I'm like, this is the only option that's acceptable.
Yep.
Otherwise, you're wasting your time.
Yep. 100%. All right. Well, before we get to our topic today, we need ourselves a Gary, because you can't have an on the perf without a Gary of the day. And Mr. Maxwell here tells me that he has one. I was like, hey, man, you got a Gary? And his response was, oh, I got a Gary.
I was thinking about it. Because I knew we were doing this topic today. It's like, we're doing topic for today. We're doing the do's and don'ts of ROing. So I was like, we need an RO themed Gary.
I like where this is going.
What's an RO themed Gary? And so I'll give you two.
Ooh, wait, we're double Garying?
Yeah, double Garying.
Right.
Yeah. So the first for sure sign that you have a Gary RO is if they come at you in their loud in charge, beginning the course of fire or beginning the stage voice, and they say, does the shooter understand the course of fire? It's going to be one of those days.
Yeah.
That is not one of the range commands. And it's a sure sign that homeboy has not read the rules. Like, I've just never had a good experience with anyone who starts the stage off. Does the shooter understand the course of fire? Homie, if I don't understand the course of fire, I shouldn't be standing here with all my stuff ready to go. And like, oh, yeah, I was wondering, could you answer a question for me here real quick? Like,
the next time this happens, I'm just going to start asking random questions.
Hell yeah. Like, what's your favorite color, man? Like,
Yeah.
Cause yeah, like that is not the time. There are plenty of times to get information if you're unclear of what the stage is. That is
when
not
you're on
it.
the line is not that time.
That is not
well,
it.
and there's, I think this is, everybody's biggest pet peeve about three gun, that there's no unified rule set. The thing that bothers me the least, but is certainly a thing that I notice, is that as you travel around, especially like, I've been to North and South Carolina a couple times, Texas a couple times on this trip or in this summer, and out there, they like literally every RO has an entirely different set of range commands that might change from shooter to shooter.
Right.
Like they're just saying completely random things. So it's not like, are you ready? Stand by, beep, blah, blah, blah. It's just like
USPSA did this part
total
right.
randomness. Yes.
And IDPA changed it just enough so that they wouldn't get sued.
Have a standard set of rage commands where the shooter knows what's about to happen.
Yep. And so
All
when
right.
you start ad-libbing other stuff in there, but a sure sign a super Gary thing to say when you're an RO. Does a shooter like it's not like, hey Brad, hey man, like you good? You ready to go? Like it's that exact phrase.
In the what cops refer to as command presence voice.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, when they drop that phrase in the command present voice, does the shooter understand the course of fire? And then they're like hoping for like a nod, and then they're gonna go like shooter ready. It's like you're gonna ask me a legit question right before like we step off on this thing. It's like skydiving and be like, hey bro, do you know what you're doing? Like, you know, before you jump out, like right at the door. They're like, you're getting ready to go out and like, hey, you know what's up, right? Oh, no, I didn't. You know, I got all the way up. I was hoping somebody would explain it to me right before I jumped out. You know,
you're quite wound up about this one.
And
all right.
the other sure sign of a Gary RO is if they use the S word. If everything starts with shooter, are you ready? Shooter, stand by. If they just constantly shooter, like Shooter McGavin, just ba 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 ba, like that's one of the like shooter is not no, like it's make ready. Are you ready? Stand by. Yeah, if they just can't stop dropping shooters out of their mouth, that's a sure sign that like danger. Watch out.
Yeah.
This
that's,
RO
that's a North Carolina move for sure.
This RO is hazardous to your health.
Nice. All right. Well, on with our main topic here. So we got an LQ, and the LQ was RO do's and don'ts for multi-gun, delayed hit calls on rifle, calling multiple hits on pistol, steel, etc. And then he added another thing after etc., which is not how etc. works, and put holding up reset to clear guns. This we actually started to answer this on a previous podcast and decided not to because we knew it was just going to spool into like a 45-minute conversation. So we're coming back to it, and we're just going to go through a whole match. So we're going to answer these things also, but we're just going to take it as the RO do's and don'ts for multi-gun as a standalone question, not specifically those things, and dive deep into how to make yourself a better RO when you volunteer for matches, because that stuff matters. Mm-hmm. For some of us, I think one thing that we always forget, we usually RO are kind of like, local-ish matches. Like I'm not going to fly to North Carolina and RO a match, but I'll RO one in Salt Lake, and I've driven down to Vegas and that kind of stuff to do so. It's easy to forget that some of the competitors there got on a plane and rented a car and paid overweight fees and rented a hotel room and took 4 days off work and like invested thousands of dollars to be there. And you are the customer facing portion of that match, and they paid real money.
Yeah.
So it's like just because you got in your car and drove 45 minutes, don't think that everyone else did.
Yeah. When it's a real dichotomy too, because like you got that on one hand, you got people who invested a lot in equity or treasure to be here. And then on the other hand, it's being facilitated by volunteers, right? So like the ROs and the staff, for the most part, are volunteers. I think a lot of the big events now are actually paying a little bit of per diem. Nobody's coming out ahead. It's more like you shouldn't have to come out of pocket to help us facilitate someone else's good time. But it is a weird dichotomy of like you have people who have spent thousands of dollars to be somewhere, and on the flip side, you have someone who's basically a volunteer. So yeah, it's a weird dichotomy because yeah, they're trying their best to facilitate a match, but at the same time, like they're not professional referees. Like I was just watching football on TV. All right, like those referees, they are professional referees. That is their job, to know the NFL rules and facilitate football at a professional level. In our sport, those guys are the best volunteers we could round up, who were available. And it's tough because like even if you wanted to, like, oh, we should pay out, we should get professional ROs. Dude, first find somebody who's available to work this patchwork schedule. And then the ones who are good, you can't pay them what they're worth. Like, they're sharp dudes like that. They're dentists, they're insurance salesmen, they're, tradesmen, they're, they have like real important job. Like, they're professional people. Like, they're not just going to, be a W-2 or a 1099 RO for the sport of 3-gun as their full-time job. Like, that's just, the sport just doesn't exist on that level right now.
Yep. Yeah. So, important considerations as we go into this thing. Where do you want to start?
So, let's start at the beginning. So, if you're going to work a match, if someone's going to work a match, first thing, seems obvious, but apparently it's not. Know the rules. All right? And, like, it's kind of, I feel like such a chotch saying it, but, like, it's, dude, if you're going to, like, from a competitor standpoint, if I put my competitor hat on, like, I think most of our audience knows that, like, I come at this from multiple sides. I'm a high-level competitor. I'm an RO. I'm a range master, and I'm a match director. All right, I have worn all the hats, and I still do on a regular basis. So from a competitor's standpoint, when an RO comes at me trying to enforce something, and they're kind of ad-libbing what they think the rules are, like, that triggers my tism in all the wrong ways. It's got me in trouble before. But, like, if you're gonna try to enforce the rules, pay the competitors the respect of having at least read them. And I feel like a lot of people are like, yeah, got it. Most ROs, most of them, 70% of the ones you see have barely an elementary level understanding of the rules.
Yep.
Right? Which is fine most of the time until you get into some kind of situation. Until a short muscle hamster throws his shotgun at a dump barrel and he misses it. All right? Now what?
Hypothetically.
Now what? And it happens fast. Life comes at you fast, man. like yeah. All this stuff happens fast. And so, like, having a working knowledge of now there's big sections of the rule book you really don't need to know. In all the rule books, you basically don't need to know chapter 1. All right, so you don't need to understand that USPSA's core value is DVC and all. You don't need to know all that. A lot of that we know, but, like, the specifics around range commands, scoring, penalties. If a bullet hole touches the line, does that count? If a tear from a bullet hole touches the line, does that count? That kind of stuff.
If a bullet passes through hardcover. If a bullet passes through another target.
Yep.
If a bullet passes through a no-shoot.
If a target wasn't taped or pasted between shooters and it's been shot twice, then what happens? Because there's the job of the ROs is to one is safety. Obviously, we have to facilitate a safe event, but then also is to give the shooter the best score that they have earned. So make sure they get all the points that they get or all the points that they shot, assess them the penalties that they earned, and not be wishy-washy in the middle there, So it is really important to know the rules. When should you stop somebody? When should you give a stop call? When should you not give a stop call? What are grounds for stop? What are penalties you can assess yourself? What are penalties that you need to summon the range master for? These kinds of things. So the first thing, pay the shooters the courtesy of reading the rule set that you're governing the match under. Be that USPSA, Texas Multigun, Zoo City, PCSL. They're all very similar, but they're all subtly different. So have recently reviewed the rule book that you are the face of enforcing.
Yep, indeed. What about when we get to walkthrough time? I would say that's kind of the next step here.
Well, or also, how about this? So, just in the context of multi-day major events, all right? So not just your club match, you're going out for a few hours. I think we all know how to survive that long. But in the context of like a multi-day event, if you're going to work a match, so you're going to be out there working for a couple days, and then you're probably shooting for a day or two ahead of time. As you come to the match, be prepared to be in the elements for several days. Most of us now are house cats. All right. So unless you actually work outside, in the weather, most of us are not used to being outside in the weather on our feet for that amount of time. So to the extent that you're able, have the survival stuff that you need, whatever apparel would be appropriate for being comfortable. If it's raining, do you have rain appropriate gear? If it's cold, do you have warm gear? If it's hot out, do you have, sunscreen and
sun hoodies will save your life.
All that
and
stuff.
For God's sakes, have a chair.
Yes.
And sit down whenever you can.
Yes.
Because you are going to be walking so much.
Right. Because
so much time on your feet.
There's like this high at first where you're just like running all over the place and you're feeling no pain, but it's like, dude, you have to run this stage 200 times. And by the time you feel tired, it's too late.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Lickies and Chewies. Like, yeah, the match is probably going to bring you some lunch. You may or may not want it, depending on how good you are with your nutrition. All right. Your body may not react well to a pulled pork sandwich in the middle of the summer. So that's just things to note. Have the types of food that you need to get through the day, hydration that you need to get through the day. Whatever stimulants you prefer to use, you should probably have those around. All right. It's probably not the time to go cold turkey on your caffeine or your nicotine habit. So like when you're going into this, go into it with the mental mindset and the preparation of, I'm going to be outside. I'm going to be working outside for several days, and I have to get all the way to the end. I think that's kind of like the next thing, to make sure you have like all the survival stuff to take care of yourself for that long. Because I think I've called 2 ambulances, and I've sent 4 people to the hospital from matches, and only one of those was a regular match competitor. And mostly it was because people were not taking care of themselves for heat-related injuries. Mm-hmm. So we had a couple people get behind on their water, not taking care of themselves. Cody West dropped a huge ass weight on his toe.
Oh, dude,
the big square bastard that goes on the end of a propeller plate rack.
Oh,
I watched that thing fall on Cody's toe, and I died a little inside when it landed.
Oh, jeez. Did it break it?
Yes. He's fine now, but like, oh my God, that was...
Dude, broken toes suck.
That was bad.
They take forever to heal.
But most of the time, most of the medical-related stuff we've had to do at matches is because staff people were not taking care of themselves in the elements.
Lovely. All right. So now we're at the match. We know what we're doing.
All right.
We know the rules. We have all the stuff.
Yep.
Competitors come walking up to our stage. I think one of the important things, very similar to...
Yeah, you just had an experience with this, didn't you?
Yeah. Very similar to having, a consistent, make-ready routine that is actually the range commands that are in the rule book. It is also important to read the same stage brief to everybody every time.
The same person should read the stage brief to everybody.
That is the best way to go.
Usually,
for sure.
there's a crew of 2 or 3 of you usually.
Yeah. So designate somebody to do that. At the most, when me and Jalise Williams were ROing for PCSL Nationals a few years ago, it was the 2 of us on a stage, and we would just rotate back and forth. And one person would read one time, one person would read the other time, and then we'd take turns being the tablet person and the timer person. But we did it exactly the same. and you know, like one of us started, the other person did it the same way the next time, and you know, you don't want to add anything that's not on the piece of paper. Occasionally there might be like housekeeping type stuff that goes after you read the stage brief. Like the stage brief is done and you're like, hey guys, by the way, we're going to score this stage right to left, you know, stuff that has more to do with like the flow of the match, nothing to do with how you are going to actually shoot the stage.
And write it on there so you say it the same every time. The not seriously but seriously, like if you tell a joke for the first squad, gotta tell that joke all the way through, man. So like choose your jokes carefully.
Yeah, you're gonna get pretty sick of that joke.
And I
highly recommend no jokes in the stage brief.
I usually have fun with stage briefs in my own special way. So in my own very dry delivery, I add snarky comments in there. One, just because it's fun for me and I think it's fun for other people, or at least they laugh or pretend to laugh. But also I do it very specifically so that people will remember it. So when somebody circles around and they try you didn't say that in the briefing, I can whip that thing back out and I can go right back chapter and verse, insert the snarky comment and be like, you remember when I said, you know, and they'll be like, oh yeah. Or they're like, no. And I've had people call Range Master on me before. It was Sazin in this particular instance at Trigun. He's like, dude, I've been here. This is the third day. I've been here a bunch of times. He tells that same joke to everybody. Like, you know, he says it the same every time. So same delivery every time. If you add stuff, write it down so that you can say it the same every time. Because as a competitor, that is where they will trip you up. When a competitor is looking for something, be it they usually it's because they want to reshoot, or they're getting assessed some penalty that they didn't anticipate. They're going to try one of the ways they're going to try and go after that, and it's not malicious. It's just a game. It's a game we're playing. This is part of the game. But they're going to try and trip ROs up in their delivery. Some ROs open themselves up to it. And if some competitors see that opening, they'll try to squeeze through it to better their end result at their match.
Yep. Another thing here, and this is maybe one of my least favorite things that can happen at any match, period. When an RO decides that a competitor has to shoot the stage in a certain way because that's how the RO squad did it when they shot the match earlier.
Oh, yeah.
If it does not say on the stage brief in writing that you have to shoot this before this, or you have to go prone there, or you can't use that wall for support, or whatever, if the RO tries to dictate how you shoot the stage based off of how they shot the stage, not based off of the rule set for the match, it doesn't get much more Gary than that. That is infuriating.
Yeah, and like
I have encountered it more than I would like.
Right, and you could probably also agree with me too that like this is a lot more important back in the day than it is now. Like the sport has evolved quite a bit to where most stages at most of the big matches are pretty freestyle. Whereas
I can think of two ranges where this happens a lot, and I'm confident that any regular listener knows what this is. Knows what those two places are.
And the Galapagos Islands of
the Galapagos Islands of Three Guys.
Yeah, this is where you have to be careful.
Parma
but like,
and Raton.
That used to be everywhere. That used to be the entire sport. So it's moving in the right direction, but yes, you have to be wary of that. From the RO's standpoint, if you're going to be a really good ROs, I think you have to come from the mindset of like you're not really allowed, or you shouldn't. It's unethical for you to give advice.
Yeah,
but you do have to answer the shooter's questions. So, and this is one of the places where I kind of grind people's gears sometimes, and it's delicious. I try very, very hard when I'm an RO or a range master to answer yes or no. So they'll ask me some elaborate question, you know. Oh, well, could I like run over here, do the somersault, shoot that from there, blah, 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 blah. Yes. So that's not a penalty? No, there's a penalty for doing that. You know, so I will yes, you could do that. No, you cannot do that. Or yes, you could do that. Or no, one of my favorites is yes, you could do that without penalty. Especially if they ask me something that's a horrible idea, like absolutely horrible idea. Like, hey, could I? I'm like, yeah, sure, you could do that without penalty. But as much as you are able, answer yes or no, because anything you say other than yes or no is open to interpretation.
And will be held against you in a court of law. So, and here's one of the things: the yes/no thing really extends a long ways. Like, I think if somebody's asking a question, what they're really asking is this allowed within the rule set? Mm-hmm. So it's like, hey, can I do like? So you need to, that person needs to be able to know with that yes or no question, like they're good to go. You don't want them to like finish this stage and get done and be like, oh, you got a foot fault over here.
Right.
Like, for what? You said I could I didn't say you wouldn't get a penalty. I just said you could do it. Like that's kind of shitty.
Right.
I think so. But the real sticky one is 180 calls.
Yeah.
If oh my God, this is my other least favorite thing. I have a lot of least favorite things going on here, but this one isn't as bad.
I don't think that means what you think it means.
Yeah. Stop butchering the English language, Adam. This is another thing that I really don't like. If I stand in a place and I say to the RO, hey, can I shoot this target from here? Clearly indicating that I'm close to the 180 and I am concerned about getting a 180 call and being thrown out of this match for shooting this target from here. The RO should either say, yes, that looks good. No, that does not. Or, you know, if you're past this thing, it's no good. But if you're before it, that's fine. Indicating where you can shoot it from. If the RO's response is, you will be DQ'd for any 180 violation and does not clarify where that 180 violation will take place, F that guy.
Show me where the bad man touched you.
Yes, exactly. I'm looking at it right now, and I think this is 179, but we're not out here with protractors and things are happening fast.
So
if I shoot this thing from this port, are you going to have a problem with it?
So yes, no works both ways. As a competitor, you want to use yes, no as well. Right? So when I'm a competitor and I ask an RO a question, I tee them up a question that's a yes, no question. So, you know, like Riser is saying, can I shoot that target from here? Yes or no? You know, or if they insert some sort of vagueness, like the plate rack must be shot from roundabout here. Roundabout's one of my favorites. All right,
not good. Not good.
I will perk right up and I'll be like, can I shoot it from here? And they'll say yes, and then I will take one step.
Take a step.
Can I shoot it from here? Yes. Can I shoot it from here? Well, okay, so you're saying I have to stand behind this tree root to shoot that from here. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Yep. But like, if I'm very precisely going to be DQ'd, you're not out of place. You're not being a dick if you force them to tell you where the line is. Because
not at all.
Because I assure you, when you get the stop call, they're going to dig their heels and be like, "Oh, you were in the stage brief. We said that you can't shoot it from there." Well, we're in the middle of a sendero in Texas, and there's like really only like
you explain to me where the 180 is here, sir.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
we're going down this winding path.
Like the spray paint washed away 3 days ago in the rain. Like where you know, so you're like some people would call that range lawyering, but like we're playing a game for score. All right, and like Riser said,
know the rules of this game.
We probably It's like we're playing a game. We need to know the rules of the game, for a variety of reasons. So so yes no it works both ways. As a competitor, I tee up questions that are yes no, because I've gotten the backside of it too before. Like I've asked a question in the briefing, and what I thought I asked and what they thought they answered were two different things. And then I did it on the clock, and they're like, "Oh no, there's a penalty for that. You can't do that." I'm like, "Well, I asked you in the briefing," and they're like, "Well, no, you asked if you could shoot. Yeah, yeah, you could shoot. It's a target. Of course you could shoot it, but like not from there." It's like, so yeah, that's yes, no is for everybody's benefit.
Yeah.
In the context of the briefing. So read it the same way every time. Good ROs will show you where all the targets are, unless it's like a bay stage and it's, but like if it's a natural terrain stage or there's any long range involved, they will point them out. Or if they don't, you as a competitor could be like, could you please point out and they will show you exactly where they all are.
Another good thing on that same line. If you are good ROs kind of like take care of their stage. Like if you have a good RO in a USPSA match and there's activators on that stage, that RO is going to check function of that activator after every single squad, make sure nothing's coming loose, things like that. Another thing that ROs can do, especially in 3-gun where this is a problem more often than I would like it, a good RO will count the targets on the stage and make sure that matches the piece of paper that he's reading off of every single day. Like that, just like incorrect round counts, especially in big natural terrain environments, are really a problem. And I mean, you can just run past 2 targets because you counted all the targets that were on the paper and you found those ones in the trees, but there were actually 2 more.
Yep.
That's not good. So,
or you saw the same target from 2 different places and you didn't see the hidden one, or like one that's got a limited exposure on it.
Yep. 100%.
So yeah, good ROs will do that. Bad ROs will explain that everyone is required to reset in their command presence voice.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, dude.
Yeah, we all know.
Yeah, dude, we know. Like, you don't have to be a dick about it.
We're getting a little bit ahead, but one of my least favorite things, because I reset like I mean it, I have my names on my paster holders. That's how serious I am about resetting. I actually didn't ask for that. Jason put my name on them when he sent them out to me, but I have a bunch of paster holders with my name on them.
Attaboy.
And yeah, I am a serious resetter. I reset like I mean it. Now, if I stop resetting and the stage starts not getting reset because I was doing the bulk of the resetting, and then the RO is chewing the squad's ass while I'm making ready, how about maybe let me shoot and then talk to everybody? I have had that happen multiple times where the big come apart, everyone needs to get off their asses thing happens while I'm, either on deck or making ready. And I'm like, yeah, it's happening because I was the person resetting. Let me finish doing my thing, then talk to everybody. Like,
right.
No,
and like
not okay with that.
The least effective, again, like do's and don'ts. So in the don'ts category, the least effective way to rally a squad to reset is to turn 180 degrees up range, roll your head back, and yell reset. Like, or some variation thereof, like chastising again the people who paid to be here, the customers. All right, if they wanted to reset, they would already be doing it. All right, so that is the least effective way and is the worst look for the match and for you. So the same thing done differently. If you're running the stage, you're not shooting, all right? So when you're not shooting, you kind of have a third eye to your third person view of the stage. Pretty easy to see who's not resetting. Instead of passive aggressively using your command presence voice, go over to the person who's not resetting.
Talk to that person.
Be like, hey, I need to see you out there. Or like, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't even have to be aggressive. Just be like, hey man, are you out of pasters? Like, you can just go like, did you need some of these?
Yeah. Here, let me help you. Well, one of the best ways that I've actually seen it done was I won't throw out the match or anything because I think I'll rat this person out. But RO came up to me and another competitor who were the clearly senior competitors on the squad, and they're like, hey man, can you go talk to that dude over there and have him reset? Because I don't want to do the whole RO yelling thing, and I think it'll sound better coming from you guys. And we were like, yeah, dude, totally fine.
Yeah.
And so like went over and had a conversation, fixed the problem, like everything was good, and he didn't have to like have the big old yell with the whole squad.
Yeah. And certainly any reference to it being unsportsmanlike conduct or DQ or anything like that, that's a bad look.
Get out of here with that.
Stage 5 Factory Gun Nationals. That dude was a douchebag. I'll remember him forever, even though I don't know his name, but he's not important enough to remember his name. So how about that?
I know a couple of those.
But, so yeah, the really loud reset. That doesn't. No, that generation has sailed, man. What other stage management thing? Make sure set whatever the amount of walkthrough time is. Well, first of all, even back up. So usually at bigger matches, there's a schedule. There's a matrix. The matrix is the stages that you're supposed to be on and the times you're supposed to be there. If the match is running ahead of time, it is up to the squad if you are going to start early.
Yes,
right?
It is.
All right, because if somebody from the squad is not there and the the range officers, quote unquote, decide to start early and the shooters miss the stage briefing, that's a competitive equity issue. Like if I roll up to a stage and like, oh, we already did the stage brief, as a competitor, I'm like, tough, do it again, because I was told, or I was supposed to be here 5 minutes from now. I'm early. You know, if I'm late, well, yeah, then you can.
Then it's on
you.
It's
on me.
But yeah, here's the deal. So do a roll call. Don't say, hey, is everybody here? There's 12 people there. Half the people flew in. Not everybody knows each other.
Yeah.
So Bob, who's all by himself, nobody's going to notice that Bob's missing. Mm-hmm. So is everybody here is not sufficient. Do a quick roll call. That'll let you know. And if everybody's there and you're early, you're like, hey, would everybody like to start early and get this done, or do you guys want to wait for your time?
Yeah.
These are both, and either answer is fine.
Yeah. The answer is usually yes. People do usually want to start early. Unless
almost everybody.
Unless there is some sort of obvious reason, like it's torrentially downpouring and everyone can see on the radar that it's going to move through in 5 minutes.
Yep.
Right, that would be a reason.
Or some guy early in the order has a mechanical problem in his gun he's trying to fix.
Yeah.
Like there's certainly reasons not to start early. Don't rush people if they don't need to.
Or especially if
the schedule
is
people
there. Aren't there, you know? So
if people aren't there, definitely don't start early.
Yeah, so good ROs, they will start at the scheduled time or when the entire squad is assembled and they have consent to start. Yep. And then they read the stage brief, as we've discussed, and then the squad will be given whatever the specified amount of walkthrough time is.
Quick thing I want to jump back to. You alluded to it really quick, but you said basically like ROs should not give advice. Mm-hmm. What Adam's talking about there is ROs will say stuff like, oh, most of the people are shooting the slugs from here. Or they're just telling you what other competitors have been doing. Don't do that. Let people figure out everything for themselves, because one, that is a competitive disadvantage to the person who did that to start if they came up with the good plan.
Yep.
Or two, you are potentially giving everybody on that squad bad advice, because maybe everybody who shot the squad before them doesn't actually know what they're doing and chose a terrible plan, and you're making it seem like that is the good plan.
Yeah.
The other thing that I don't like is when ROs say at the end of their stage brief what the fastest time on the stage is so far. I am don't look at scores kind of guy. I don't want to know. I just want to show up, shoot the stage the best I can, and leave.
Yeah, the most people are. I mean, it's like the same reason that juries aren't allowed to watch the news, because as soon as an RO says something like that, you are framing people's perspective. You're either saying that you think that's the best way to shoot, and then people kind of work within that box, or like Reiser is saying, if somebody figured something out and they worked hard to figure out an angle, The other competitors, they have to figure it out for themselves. So it's the sport predominantly right now. It's a problem-solving game. Like a stage is a problem, and the shooters need to solve it. How do I shoot all of these targets in the least amount of time? And the officials should be as much of a fly on the wall, an observer, an assessor of that as possible.
Yep. Would you say, let's say we're at the beginning of day 2, every single squad on day 1 asked if they could do something weird? Like whatever that, can I shoot that slug from here? Can I shoot through this port? Can I shoot through the break in these walls? Whatever it is, it was decided that they could not do that. Do you think it is okay for the RO to preemptively add a bunch of people have asked if you can do this, you cannot?
I would need more information.
Yeah. I think it would depend on the case a lot.
Yeah, it would depend on the case quite a bit because Multi-Gun Nationals, not this year, but last year, there was a fairly big hullabaloo that resulted in a bunch of reshoots that basically turned into something like that. The ROs or the shooters asked the RO a question. He answered it. The other shooters on that squad didn't hear the answer. So somebody asked an astute question and got an answer and acted on it. The other members of their squad did not, and subsequent squads heard about that information or asked that question, and they got the updated information. And then it was shooters after this point on the schedule got different information than shooters before them. It really depends. But I would say anything that's like USPSA uses the term forbidden action, stuff that's like is safety oriented. Like, hey, you are forbidden to do this. It is unsafe for you to do this. Don't go there and shoot that target. That stuff I think is fair game to put in, but I would say it really depends, and it would really depend on how obvious it is or the safety relative to it, and then strategically, like how much are they going to influence strategy? Like, if it was something that was going to result in an RO trap, like, hey, don't run all the way up there and then try to run all the way back here and shoot this target, or like, I didn't articulate that very well. But if it was something that like is like, hey man, don't do that, because it's going to put people at risk. That's where I think it's okay to put it in is when you're starting to mitigate safety risks or unpredictable things. So sometimes some things that are ad-libbed in, it's like nowhere in the rules on a field course does it say once you have progressed a certain amount of distance, like you can't come back to a target. Mm-hmm. But sometimes in natural terrain stages or whatnot, they'll be like, hey, once you're in the ravine, you can't come back out here and shoot the shotgun. Like once you dump the shotgun, you can't come back. Or what's another good example? Bay to bay stages. It's like once you've left bay number 1, you cannot come back for a variety of reasons. One of them being safety, 2 being how do we score that, and 3 they're probably going to start resetting that thing, right? So
there's going to be 5 people in there taping targets when you come back into
so a lot of times when that kind of stuff is ad-libbed in, it's one of those like, hey, once you've progressed past this certain point, like the train has left the station and you can't come back. Stuff like that. And then like the walkthrough time, whatever the specified walkthrough time is, the squad is entitled to that amount of walkthrough time unless or until they say, hey, we're ready. But like as the match progresses on, sometimes and a lot of times shooters might not even be aware of this, but a lot of times staff members are under pressure to, especially if their stage is running behind, to try and pick up the schedule, try to keep up, or they're trying to get people through. So sometimes being well-intentioned staff members are trying to hurry things along, but there is a point where that does cross a line in both competitive equity and then just also etiquette. It's like, hey man, no, we get 4 minutes. And so like a lot of times, like especially on a bottleneck stage, the way this will usually play out, like if your squad was there and you watched the whole squad in front of you shoot, but the rules and the etiquette are you're not supposed to be on the stage while the squad in front of you is shooting. Sometimes slightly irritated, tired, dehydrated, hungry ROs will come up and be like, all right, well, you guys all saw how to shoot it, so here's the brief, and then we're going to start the first shooter. Like, no. I get my 5 minutes.
Yeah, you do.
It's like, oh, well, you're shooting from here, you're shooting from there, you're shooting that. Don't care, buddy. I get my 5 minutes. So yeah, shooters should get the specified amount of time to walk through. But also, it is on the ROs, I think, to make sure that subsequent squads or squads that aren't on this stage right now stay off. Again, there's rude and polite ways to do that, but if another squad is scouting a stage and they're kind of getting in the mix and walking the stage while the other squad is ahead of them is still shooting, that's not fair to the squad that's there. So that is on range staff to enforce as well. Again, be polite about it, and the shooters understand.
And there are a lot of times where shooters will kind of like try to sneak this. Mm-hmm. They'll be pasting, and I'm using my air quotes, where they'll sort of like walk a section of the stage and then paste the target, and then walk another section of the stage and then paste a different target, 40 yards away, and none of the ones in between, and try to like, oh, I'm just helping out. Like, no, you're not. Everybody can see you trying to walk this stage. Just get off, wait your turn.
And like in my earlier days, I would legit want to help the squad ahead of me reset sometimes, just because I'm, especially on the on-off schedule, where like I'm bored, I'm stuck here. I would rather help you guys. But there are people who ruined that for the rest of us. There were people that had one string of pasters in their hand and they were really just walking through the stage. So now it's pretty much to the point of, if you're not scheduled to be on that stage, that squad needs to stay back. And it's on the ROs to enforce that.
Yep.
And they should.
If I would say, as a competitor, if the squad in front of you is just like, they're behind, they're slow, they're lazy, they're not resetting, whatever, and you want to help out, I think it is reasonable to ask the RO, hey, man, if I throw on some gloves and go set some steel, are you cool with that?
Oh, yeah.
And, and do that up front, and but do not like try to sneak some looks in while you're doing that. Just help reset, like help move the thing along. That's totally fine, but ask that question before you just start rolling out onto the stage. Where are we at? All right, stage is going. You've given the range commands that are actually a set list of commands that you give to the same people every time, and do not include the word shooter or the phrase, does the shooter understand the course of fire?
Yep.
I think we're going to fix the sport with this episode.
I hope so. I feel like I've done episodes like this before, though. So,
I know.
But like in the range commands,
the people who need it, don't listen to
good
them.
ROs. Again, like don't use 2 words when one will do. When the shooter turns around, like, am I good? Make ready. And then they're like, make ready, one gun, and they turn around and they're like, have their hand on their pistol and they're kind of looking for the nod. Mm-hmm. Make ready. They're like, can I do this? Make ready. I will continue to say make ready until they assume the start position, right?
This is also something you can that you can deal with during the housekeeping portion of the stage brief.
Yep.
Be like, after I give you the make ready command, you can proceed to make ready all 3 guns.
Yep.
Like you don't need to hear it. Like just say that once to the whole squad, they'll know. Hit calls. This was actually part of that question. So
yes, hit calls.
Let's say hit calls 2 different ways. Hit calls on long range and hit calls on static steel, because those are kind of different things because they happen at a very different pace.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the important thing with hit calls in long range, going into the stage, it is very reasonable and preferred to ask the shooter his engagement order on the long range targets so you know which targets to look at in what order. If you are calling hit calls on any long range targets whatsoever, you should definitely have some glass available. I prefer binoculars over spotting scopes because you have a significantly larger field of view, which means you can see multiple targets at the same time.
Yes.
So if the
pause
shooter
right there.
mixes up, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So Optics Corners brought to you by Vortex Optics, vortexoptics.com. All right. So
also,
in the nicest way
optics
possible
on a tripod,
yeah.
like not freehanded.
Yeah, in the nicest way possible, F your spotting scope. Like F it really hard. Okay? Spotting scopes are not what you want for what we're doing. Or if you need a spotting scope, it needs to be set up on the target that you need the spotting scope for, and it's sitting on a tripod so that you just look through it. Spotting scopes are very high magnification, so they have very narrow field of view, which means generally speaking, an RO cannot see the whole course of fire through the scope without moving it, and they're kind of sensitive to pan. All right, so if you need a spotting, yes, if there is an 800-yard target, by all means, have a spotting scope on it, but don't be panning to that 800-yard target. Usually good ROs have an optic set up on a long target like that they just look through it, and if there's multiples, they have multiples. If you're trying to scan or if you're trying to watch an array of long-range targets, that will be much better accomplished with a set of binoculars. Binoculars have two oculars, so they have much wider field of view. And
less magnification.
You can see it all. But yeah, everybody wants to roll up with their Hubble telescope. And like, we could have another Gary of the day, the guy that's trying to pan around his 60 power spotting scope. Like, that is not the best way. That is not the way to do it. So, and
I own like the most burly, like high magnification spotting scope that Vortex makes. It comes out of the gear room about once a year.
I think both of mine have dust on them.
Yeah, it is. It pretty much just kind of like lives there. Like, unless I use it for glassing for elk way more than I use it for anything else.
But yeah, and at the same time, but in that same breath, don't use optics for the ones you don't need. You can see a BC hit at 50 yards or 80 yards or 100 yards. Like, a lot of them really are easy to see with the naked eye, and there's no real good rule of thumb how far away that is. It really depends on the target and the lighting and the backdrop and all that stuff. But like,
are flashers in play?
Yeah.
Is it an activated target? Like that kind of thing? Like, yeah.
So
I think most good matches these days are using strobe indicators on the long range stuff, and it makes such a huge difference.
Yeah. I mean, I really feel if you're paying more than $150 in a match fee, that match owes you to have flash indicators on the targets. To the extent that they're able.
Yes.
I mean, stuff malfunctions and whatnot, and they have to make do. But like, the intent should be that those are indicated. The technology exists and it's affordable. And you should have a dedicated RO watching those. Again, like, from a staffing standpoint, the person who is the quote unquote RO that's standing next to you, their job is really to watch you and the gun.
Yeah, that person should not be looking through.
Yeah.
Glass.
And sometimes that person can call targets, and sometimes that's just how it's executed in the real world. But like, as a practice, that should not be the person calling hits. There should be another one that is specifically watching. And if the RO on the shooter's side can see, well, they can help too, but it should not be their primary job. To do that. Their primary job is to watch the shooter.
Yeah, and there's a couple of really key things to consider here. For most competitors, and especially if strobes are not in play, the competitor's waiting for your hit call before he can move on to the next target. That means that you are affecting that competitor's time on the clock, and this is a time-based sport, which means that time is super, super valuable. If the person on glass can be at a reasonably close distance to the person who is shooting so they can easily hear you, that is very much preferred. If the person on glass, because of the layout of the stage and the props and everything else involved, has to be any real distance away, I think the RO, mirroring the hit call from the person on glass is totally reasonable. Like I had one stage on at Memorial where you're shooting inside of like a helicopter hall, and it was just definitely loud in there. And then because there was like a bush kind of hiding some stuff, the RO had to be, some distance away. And I didn't hear any hit calls on the entire stage. I was like, I think those are hits. And they're like, yeah, you're good. Those are hits. But I didn't hear any of the returns, like none of that stuff. So like, thank God there were strobes, and I just went off of those.
You can barely hear Jen after shooting in that doghouse 2 years ago.
Yeah, no kidding. Speaking of the Galapagos.
And as the RO or range officials, once the H word is out of your mouth, you can't take it back.
Not taking it back.
So, and sometimes like they're trying to keep up. So be like, hit. Oh, no. If you say hit, they get it, and like, that's just how it is. That's human error. But like the ROs don't get to call it back. And if you're a shooter, I would call shenanigans on that 10 times out of 10. Like, hey bro, you said hit. And I would ride that one right into the ground. Most of the RMs that I'm aware of right now in the sport would back you on that. But that's where like you want to make sure you had like video. That's why you want video for stuff like that. Like, oh yeah, hear him say hit. He said hit, man. Like, it is in no way legitimate for an RO to call you back to a target and say, oh nope, my bad. Nope, we're not having a conversation on the clock. If you slipped up, that's on you. That's match karma giving me a little bump from something else that happened earlier or hasn't happened yet. So,
yep. Static steel. I'm super not a big fan of multiple shots on static steel.
I'm not either.
At pistol distance.
Not either.
Because it's so easy to mess it up. There was quite a bit of that in Texas at the Vortex shootout, and man, hats off to the ROs on those couple stages, because those dudes were on it. Like I was ripping through a bunch of like mixture of static steel, which required 2 hits and paper targets, and they were doing the 1-2 hit call. And on several of them, I would hit the first one, crank off a fast follow-up that missed, shoot some paper, shoot another static steel, come back to it. Like I kind of like train wrecked a little bit in the pistol portion of this stage, and it was like all over the place. And that RO did not miss a single call. I could not believe it. I got done. I was like, dude, I was shooting like a wild man, and they're just random shots on random targets. And the dude kept count when there was like 3 separate steel targets in play, none of which had their second hit yet.
Yeah.
And that stuff is going to happen. So let's say you're an RO, and in that match, it does require 2 hits on static steel. Are you a fan of the 1-2 hit call?
Absolutely.
Or just yelling 2, or just yelling what? So you
drink
both calls.
This is an innovation from Drink Iron Man. All right. Woo. But yeah, that was, if there's multiple hits that need to be called, I will write that into the brief. Just like, all right, you need to hit these 2 times, and the call will be 1-2. Not hit 1, hit 2. 1. Yeah,
don't add extra
2.
words.
1, 2, 3, 4. Or like last year at Multi-Gun Nationals, I think we had like a hanging plate array. The rifle only stage, like it was stage 2. So there was hanging plates. There were multiple of them, so shooters were going to try and shoot it like a plate rack, and they may or may not hit them all. So the ROs, we wrote it, and the ROs would brief it that we are going to count the number of unique hits that you have. So if you skipped a plate, it wasn't going to be 1, 2, 5, 4, 3. We were going to count in ascending order the number of unique hits you have. And if you shot the same plate again, we're either going to repeat the number like 1, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, 5, you know, or they weren't going to say anything. I forget how they did it exactly, but it's like 1, 2, 3. And then if you start pounding the same plate again and they hit it 2 or 3 times, and the shooter will be like, oh, is that a hit? And they'll be like, no, you already hit that one or something like that. So yeah, the best that I would count 1, 2, 3. And just in general, you want to concise language. You want to say as little as possible. Like guys start even at coaching matches, they start coaching or whatever, or so for example, at a match where coaching is allowed, say you were to overrun a target on the left. Say there was a target on the left and it was a big green square. All right. Left to their own devices, a lot of people will be like, oh, wait, come back. Big green square on the left. As an RO, or even as a coach, as someone coaching somebody on a stage, you want to say target left, or left.
Yeah.
You want to say as few words. You don't want to have a conversation with this person. You want to say as few words as possible to convey the message.
Yep. Yeah, 100%.
Most
people are terrible coaches.
Right. And it's not their fault. They just don't have much practice at it. But you want to say as few words as possible, both as an official, as a coach, as a shooter. Roll up to a long range array. Staff person asks you, what's your order of engagement? The correct answers are
left to right, right to left,
near to far, near to far, far to near. Those are the options. You would have to make a very compelling argument why you would shoot it any other way. And it could make sense to you. You want to do it that way because it's an ascending logarithmic formula, and that just tickles your tism in just the right. Dude, homeboy here has to keep up with you, all right? So you want to make it simple for him. Right to left, left to right, near to far, far to near.
Or also, pro tip, if you're making it simple for him, your transitions are going to be smaller and also simpler.
Oh yeah.
So
and I also
your goal should be to make it simple for both of you.
I like some of those big natural terrain long range stages like the Rock in Texas. If you've been to Reveille Peak, you know where the Rock is. So if they're out there and they're all laid out some weird way and they ask you, hey, what's your order of engagement? And you tell them, and they turn around and they spit out a nickname. Okay, that's good that you've picked something other people are doing. So they're you tell them, they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this. And he turns around and is like, all right.
They're going to shoot the V.
All right, he's shooting the V. Oh, he's doing the horseshoe.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, he's doing the triple deke with the Klondike twist. Like, oh, that's not good. That's really not good.
And if they have to ask you a second time, can you repeat that? You have messed up.
Yeah.
Might not be time to fix it, but just know it going in.
He's doing a modified wagon wheel. That's not good. That you want to.
No, he says, yeah, yes, yeah, yeah. No kidding. Oh god. All right. So 1-2 on the statics. What about? Let's see. You're in a match. They've shot a piece of steel that turns 45 or 90 or whatever the amount is that it has to turn to count before it falls. Steel can turn and not fall down. Most good matches will say, hey, if you turn this thing past some amount of rotation, we're going to call it, you clearly hit this target, it moved, it just didn't fall off the stand because that's it's muddy or it's sticky or whatever.
That's one of those rules that change, so that's one of the ones you want to refresh yourself on at any match you go to.
Yes, those are different everywhere. Some matches you just got to stand there and shoot a completely bladed piece of steel with the pistol. Sucks to be you.
City.
Are you good with the RO yelling good or something like that?
Absolutely. Say hit. Awesome. Everyone understands what hit is. Drop an H-bomb on that thing and keep it moving.
Just drop an H-bomb. Again, use as few words as possible. Hit.
Is it good? Hit.
Means good. Means it's turned. Means it's whatever. Yeah. And they're expecting something along those lines. So if you just yell hit
or good, whichever comes out first. Yeah.
Yep. Usually a good idea to also add that to the housekeeping in the stage brief. Like, if this happens, this is what I'll yell.
Yep.
Yep.
Same thing with spinners. Spinners over.
Yep. Don't, if you are coaching somebody in a coaching match, do not yell bottom, top on the spinner, because top sounds like stop, and that leads to all kinds of problems. Don't do that.
There is that.
Yep.
What else on long range type stuff?
Let's see. Generally speaking, ROs are not allowed to give.
They're really not allowed to do very much.
Yeah, they're just allowed to call hits. They're not allowed to call corrections. I think it really depends on the match. If for coaching matches, I'm liking coaching matches less and less as time goes on.
Good.
But for coaching matches, if a spotter who is a competitor / coach turns to an RO and says, "What target are they on?" Is the RO allowed to respond to that person, or do they just say, "Suck it"?
That really depends. That really, like at that match, at that match, I would say that that RO could say that, because that's like the Wild West, right?
Yeah.
So like if they know which one they're on and they're just not telling you, I think that was a dick move. In that,
I think that's pretty crappy. Well, and here's the thing:
you're either allowed to say everything, or you're allowed to say nothing, right?
Yeah.
So like you say hit and nothing else, or like you're coaching just like everybody else, you know?
I do think there's a middle ground. I think if the coach is messed up, and like if they're having that conversation, things have already gone catastrophically
right. Like that's
wrong.
that's not the time to be like you're in that middle ground there where it's like, okay, this person could tell them where to go. Like you can tell the coach where they are, so the coach can tell the shooter.
Yes.
Yeah. Like
I think that's way different than calling hit calls.
Right.
Like you're not calling corrections. You're just like, hey man, they're on that thing over by that tree.
Yeah.
They're on the third target, whatever.
Now, more often than not, the way that goes down is they have no idea where you are, because you have probably skipped a target or forgot a target or thought you hit a target.
That's usually what happens.
So
yeah.
they're looking at one, waiting for you to hit it, and you either aren't there or thought you hit it and have moved on. So you're not looking at the same thing. More often, that's what happens.
Yeah, that's usually the case. And it is your job as a shooter to shoot the target in the order of engagement that you told the ROs you were going to shoot it in. If you do something else, kind of on you.
Yep.
Like, that does suck. It's a terrible place to be. I've been there before, but it is your fault. All right, let's say stage is going along. There was... So here's the big thing. If you stop somebody because you think that they should be DQ'd, or you call a penalty, or you call a footfall, or whatever, and you figure out over the course of, whatever evidence coming to be that, hey, you might have been wrong, nope, you're right, my bad. Like, the shooter is not trying to get one over on you. Some of them are, but as a general rule, the shooter's not trying to get one over on you. And if somebody got either DQ'd for something or got a penalty for something, and they are able to show evidence or explain evidence in a way where you're like, yeah, that was it's like, I think the thing is, some ROs get really hung up on, it's like, this is my integrity or something versus the shooter.
Oh,
and they start getting really combative like that. Like, no, your job is to execute the rules of the match with the best information you have. And if new information comes to light that will undo a call that you made,
well,
okay, that's totally fine.
That's the beauty of the S-bomb. All right. Like, there are a few things as absolute in the world as the stop call. All right. And you should have that thing half cocked, ready to go at all times. And if anything gets out of whack, stop. Just stop. All right. And the shooter should freeze, blah, blah, blah. And the reason that works is because most of the things that trigger stop calls are those unforgivable sins, or they might be those unforgivable sins, or we're not sure what's going on and things are getting out of control. And the beauty of it is, from an RO standpoint, there is no foul in a stop call. Because if you drop an S-bomb when it's not warranted, they get a reshoot. They get a complete do-over. All right? But if they did one of the things, it's on you to stop. Like the inverse isn't necessarily true. They're like, well, you didn't stop me. I broke the 180. You didn't stop me. How do you know I broke the 180? Right? So like if any of those things, if any of the unforgivable sins are about to happen, stop. And if it didn't actually happen, which usually it doesn't, if it didn't actually happen, they get a reshoot. They get a reshoot. We all came here to shoot anyway. You should look at reshoot.
Yep. Reshoots are a gift, ladies and gentlemen. They are a gift.
Should look at reshoots as a gift. It's a bonus stage, 10-stage match. I get to shoot 11.
You got a free practice run?
Yeah.
I bet of all the reshoots I've ever done, I am at a comfortably 85% improvement over my first run.
Oh, yeah.
Like, only if I have like an actual mechanical problem or I just completely shit the bed, do I actually shoot worse in a second run. Here's the deal. If you lay down some smoke in the stage and you're like, oh, I could never repeat that, you had no business going that fast in the first place. Yeah. Like, you were already sending complete hopers out there.
To me, I look at it as I got a running start. Like, I am primed with adrenaline. I get to start from a primed state. So I'm excited. So people are like, oh, well, reshoots never go well. That's on the shooter. As we're talking about being a staff person at a match, that's on the shooter if reshoots don't go well for them. All right?
Yep.
But you need to be quick with the stop, and the only possible recourse for a stop call that wasn't supposed to happen is a reshoot. And everybody knows 100%. You're supposed to bring twice as much ammo as the match requires anyway. They're all ready to reshoot if they have to. So from an RO standpoint, if you think you need to say stop, if the thought was should I, you already know the answer.
I one of the stop calls that I made a little while ago now, but anyways, a stage that went down and kind of dog-legged, and then there was a swinger behind a barrel with an activator. Shooter shot that thing, swinger came out, forgot to shoot the swinger, kept going down, and I was actually the scoring RO at the tablet. And shooter realizes he forgot to shoot it, starts ripping back the stage from the end. So he shot this thing like 15 seconds ago, and now he's ripping upwards on the stage from the end. And I look over, and there is a dude pasting a target behind the barrel where the swinger is. And like from the peanut gallery, just super loud, like stop! Like, and the shooter's like, I didn't break the 180. I'm like, no, you're good, but like, crazy things were about to happen and I didn't want any part of that. So like we're just gonna reset this whole thing and just come back from zero and go again and make sure nobody gets extra holes in them. So yeah, that is totally acceptable move. Totally acceptable. All right. Well, what else do we have here, homie?
Stop calls. I had a thought and I lost it. I got distracted here. Show and clear on the guns.
Oh yeah.
Let people clear out the guns. All right.
Yeah. That was actually part of the question. Any decent 3-gun stage should really be designed so guns can be cleared.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. If guns are dumped into barrels and they're facing straight down, in my opinion, even if that barrel is smack dab in the middle of the stage, it is perfectly reasonable to lean over into that barrel and clear a gun in the barrel without taking it out of the barrel while it is facing the ground.
By definition, abandonment receptacles are safe for the gun to go off in.
Yeah.
Ultimately, 55-gallon drum or whatever, like the shot is supposed to go straight into the ground in a safe direction. So like it could, in theory, go off while you're downrange of it, and it wouldn't hurt anyone. Like that's good stage design. Now clearing the gun, it should stay in there. Like that should be briefed that like, hey, keep it in the barrel, but rack all the rounds out and then clear it off the stage. That just keeps the stage running effectively. I think the other thing too, to be a good RO, there are equipment rules for a reason. So have an eye out for, hey, what division is this person shooting? Is that the right equipment? If they're shooting a reduced capacity division, Is there a place on your stage where if someone was in a reduced capacity division, they should run out of ammo? And if they don't, it's your place to call that kind of thing. The other one I would say is when stuff is abandoned, check if the safety's on. I would say it's completely inbounds, and I would say we should enforce nitpicking. The safety should be on. Now, more often than not, it is. But if it's not, like that's one of those like unforgivable sins. We want to police that very strictly because it's a slippery slope if we don't. So when they abandon a shotgun in a barrel and they walk by, give it a look. Yep, safety's on. Okay, good.
Well, I think people are a lot more likely to call it now that it's no longer a match DQ at most matches.
Yes.
It's like a 30-second penalty or like it's a huge, like you're gonna take 50% of your score out of that stage. But I think that is it's sort of like the finger call in USPSA. Like there's no warning. You either DQ the person or you don't. So there's no good way to like, hey man, So I think the fact that has turned into a 30-second penalty at most places is a good appropriate way.
A finger call is a 30-second penalty?
No. A finger call is either a match DQ or there's no call.
Oh yeah.
In USPSA, like there's no middle ground. So I'm saying the abandoning a gun, changing from a match DQ to a 30, or abandoning a gun with safety off, changing from a match DQ to a 30-second penalty. Because as you said, by definition, that thing is pointed straight at the ground, and if it did go off, would not hurt anybody. But we don't want to just have that become the norm, says the guy who just trundled a shotgun onto the ground in Texas and got put back in the match.
Attaboy.
And I mean, I'll be the first to say, like, I think I should have been DQ'd from the match for that. I'm not going to DQ myself from a match that I flew to Texas for. So if they're going to let me keep shooting the match, I'm sure going to do it. And I'm going to be damn safe about it. But I think the fact that you can now like administer that 30-second penalty for the safety off without just completely destroying somebody's weekend is enough of a slap in the PP that people will stop doing that. But it is pretty rare. Like I don't see people doing that very often anymore.
Yep.
Like just abandoning guns.
Oh yeah, it's very rare.
Like everybody's
very rare.
Yeah, everybody's pretty on point with it.
As an RO, also understand that the shooters, they have their score's best interests at heart. If they ask you a question, go look at it. I asked for an overlay a couple weeks ago, and guy was like kind of offended that I asked for an overlay, and I'm like, I can ask for an overlay. Like I'm not completely within my bounds at a USPSA match to ask for an overlay, and you should do one. And it's not like, well, I don't have, well, you can go get one. Like it's within reasonable to ask.
It's within your
ask
rights,
for that thing. And so as an official, you should yield to that. All right. You shouldn't be bullying shooters to or not to do something. It's not a challenge of your authority. It's just a game. We're just playing, right? So we want to make sure that the shooter gets the best version of the score that they earned.
Well, really good example of that at Memorial. I told a version of the story earlier, or in a different podcast. I skipped a shotgun target on a stage. RO at the end of the stage is like, hey man, you never shot that target. I was the first shooter, fresh paint on the target. I was like, all right, I'm going to go look at it. And he was like, all right, cool. I walked down. There's 3 pellets on the target. And I'm like, hey man, there's some pellets on the target. Like I took a photo. Here it is. I think I must have just like super missed it and just edged him with some pellets. And his response was, I don't think so, but I'll just call the match director and we'll figure it out. I'm like, cool. Match director rolls up. They go and have a conversation, come back. Match director's like, yep, he said there's pellets on the target. Apparently you must have shot at it. We're going to call it a hit. And like, that was the whole thing. And then I found out looking at video that night that I didn't shoot at the target. And then I, being a person who wants to get the score that I earned, not the score that I think I should get, went back to that stage the next morning and was like, hey man, I looked at my video. Turns out I didn't shoot at that target, put that penalty back on. But that was like a perfectly good example of like the RO saw something happen. I showed up with evidence that something else might have happened. And he's like, well, I can't square these two things. Let's just call the match director. No voices got raised at any point. Super civil, match director made a ruling, and that was it. If you would have gone the other way with it, I would have been fine with that too. But like that's the way that should go down. Hey man, can I get an overlay on that? Sure.
Yep.
Like like
and
let me go look at this. I'm gonna look for a second hole,
and
that's
the
it.
shooters can escalate to the range master for anything. They can call for the range master at any time. That's like no reflection on you. Sometimes they want to talk to them for something that has nothing to do with you, or there's things going on at previous stages that you don't know about. So like a lot of times people get defensive when you call for the range master, and it's either like as a competitor, like I understand that something's going on here that this guy doesn't understand is correct, so I like want to low key talk about it with the higher match official without making a big deal about it, or for whatever reason. But like at the same time, when you go up to ROs and you're like, hey, could you call the range master? Because they have the radio and I don't. They get kind of defensive. Like when my manager schedules a meeting with me, I get nervous. I have no reason to be nervous. I haven't done anything wrong. Every single time, like, oh man, getting called up. Like whoa, what's going on? So you're going to trigger that sort of emotion response from somebody when you ask for the range master. But you're completely within your bounds to do it. A lot of people are kind of like timid about, I don't want to make a big deal. Trust me, that range master is probably bored sitting in the clubhouse, waiting for your call for something to do. So, just call them, like that's the reason the hierarchy exists. You shoot a stage, they call it stage. If those two things don't match, you call the guy above them and we sort it out. And then that frees up the RO to keep the match moving. So there's nothing wrong with that. We're hitting the mark now where Adam's going to want to wrap this up here. So there's two more things I want to get to. As an RO, to be a good RO, know what you saw and only speak in absolutes. All right. So if you're going to make a call, know that you saw it and stick to it. If you don't know, there is no call. And especially if you don't know, don't start improvising. Well, and the very dangerous phrase is, I think if you don't know, tie goes to the runner. All right. And that shooter's not being a range lawyer. You opened the door and they're driving a truck through it. Okay. So know what you saw. All right. Especially if you're going to DQ somebody. Well, I think it was 181. Bro. You got to know that thing was past 180 if you're going to ruin somebody's match. You got to know that they didn't shoot that target. It was like, well, there's no hits on it. I don't think you shot at it. I don't care what you think. You either got to know I didn't shoot at it, or you cannot assess me that penalty. As the way it's currently written, that's the way it has to be. And same thing, like to be a good match official, if you've opened the wishy-washiness, when I'm a range master and I roll up, if you've already let that out of the bag, I can't help you. Right? Like, make a call and shut up. All right? If they don't like your call, call the range master. Period. All right? It's like, I think that's Alpha Mike. I don't think so. Okay, pull the target, call the range master, we're moving on. Let them deal with it. But like, know what you saw. Don't start improvising. You start improvising, you start ad-libbing. That's where Charlotte's Web starts to weave, and range masters really earn their keep when they have to untangle all that stuff. So the biggest thing is know what you saw. If you don't know, you got to let it ride. You don't get to make up what you think happened, especially now when so much of it's on video. Know what you saw. And, if they get one over on you, whatever. It's just a game. But if you're going to turn it the other way, you got to know what you saw. And then the other thing I like to cover is the arbitration process. Okay? So, So this would be where there's some kind of conflict, or some kind of, it's going to escalate. All right. So shooter shoots something, RO makes a call, there's a discrepancy, and they want the range master to get involved. Okay, from an RO standpoint, stop talking, right? Just like, we are actually kind of lawyering now. Like, court is in session. What you say can be used against you. Okay? so as your lawyer, as your range master, stop talking. Make a call, stop talking. And you don't have to be a dick about it. Just be like, hey man, you know what? Range master's on his way. I'm just going to get the next guy going here. We'll figure it out. Okay? Just go reset your gear. We'll figure it out when he gets here. All right? Stop talking. When the range master shows up, good range masters are going to go straight to the RO. The only reason they wouldn't go straight to the RO is if the shooter intercepts them. That shooter is messing up, as we've already discussed. All right. So as a shooter, go to your car.
Look at episode 50 and see how I messed up.
Go to your car. Go to your bag. Wait for them to have their initial meeting. All right. But good range masters are going to go straight to the head RO. Be like, hey man, why am I here? Because often they don't know. Especially if it's something serious. And like one of the rules that we talk, or one of the unspoken rules that gets talked about in the staff meetings.
Don't say DQ over the radio.
We don't say DQ over the radio. Okay, so he doesn't know why he's there unless they're like, call him for calibration or whatever. But so let him. He has zero context for what has happened here. Let him go get. The reason we picked ROs is because they're fairly unbiased and objective. All right, that's part of the reason that people who gravitate towards that position tend to like to be in that sort of position, and match officials, match directors tend to pick people who are good at it to work their matches. So it's like, hey man, I don't know what's going on here, but Cody knows what's up. So I'm going to go talk to Cody. Hey, why am I here? What's going on? And he's going to give him the rundown. He's going to say his side, what he thinks happened. Just like in the real world with cops, right? They're going to get to write the report first, and then you get your day in court. All right. So they're going to get spun up on what happens, and then they're going to come and talk to you. Okay. So in the arbitration that's not even technically arbitration process. That's just the appeal of a range officer's call. All right. But then once they're spun up, they're going to talk to you. I would make that as professional as possible. Again, remember what you say. Words mean things. What you say can be used against you. And they're trying to figure it out. If you don't like what happens there, in some instances, you can appeal the range master's call to arbitration. Arbitration would be the equivalent of going to court. All right, you will be judged by a jury of your peers. In the USPSA context, there will be 3 of them. One of them will be a match official, and 2 of them will be competitors. And there's a process. You fill it out. This is one of the things you could read if you're interested. But essentially, you fill out your side of the story. You cite the rules, and they can interview who was there and all that stuff. But essentially, there's a process above range master. In a lot of 3-gun matches, there's not, but like in USPSA, there is. So you can appeal above them if you think, hey, you're getting a raw deal from this guy. You can put it to a jury of your peers, and they'll see if they agree with you or not. Usually to do that, you got to lay down $100. And if you win, you get your $100 back. If you are wrong, they keep it. That's kind of earnest money, or earnest money. Is that the right use of that term?
It's sort of to keep frivolous lawsuits
right out. So it's like, hey man, if you feel strongly enough about this that we're going to pull 3 people together and kind of go over your bullshit, like, how serious are you?
Lay down your hundy.
Guys who are serious, they walk around with $100 in their pocket. And so I think we've had, last 2 years we've had arbitrations at Multi-Gun Nationals. I think both of them won, although one of them would not say they did. They did not win it. They did not win in the way they thought they would.
It was a group victory.
Anyway, so there is something above it, and like again, like a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to do that. They're very averse to like rocking the boat. It's like, hey man, this is your match. All right, if you're gonna grumble all the way home about how this went, there's no reason not to go through the process. The process is there to use if you're gonna use it. But when stuff gets controversial from the RO standpoint, know what you saw. Make a call. And once you've made a call, shut up. And if they don't like it, let them appeal to the range master. Appeal to the range master as polite as possible. If you're a shooter, when the range master gets there, let them talk to the ROs first. Then they'll come talk. Believe me, they will find you. As a range master, I don't want to know what it is, who it is. I almost want to consider it on the merits before I know who's involved. Like, I would rather assess, hey, shooter fired a shot from here at that target. I would rather look at that first before I know my friend Dylan is the one that shot that shot. All right? Because when I know it's my friend Dylan,
Yeah.
I might feel differently about it. Just as a human. Like, right? When it's my friend, or it's somebody I don't like, you know? If there are people that I don't like, I'm like, oh, well, here's my chance to stick it to them. All right. So, like, let them consider it just on the merits. Ultimately, I would like to roll up there, hear about what happened, assess it first, and then my last question is, who is the shooter? And then they'll point to him, and then we go talk to him. And then, as a shooter, if you don't like how that goes, in certain instances, there's also an appeal above that you can do.
Yep. Well, to put a bow on this thing, I would say the state of ROing right now. Let me just put some numbers on it really quick. While Adam was talking about that, I was kind of running through my head of this season. I shot a lot of matches this season. I actually don't know how many majors I shot. Certainly in double digits. And a good handful of locals. I would guess I have interacted with certainly no less than 80 ROs this year. Probably more like 100. I guess if you add in locals, probably 100. Might even be more. So let's just say I've interacted with 100 ROs this year. I would say 20 of them were very good. Like ROs where I was like, wow, that dude is turned on. He is very good at what he does. We're lucky to have him. 3 of them, I can picture their faces, were quite terrible. And all of the rest were basically forgettable in that nothing miraculously amazing or super terrible happened. The sport ran as it should.
Terrible how?
So the ones that were terrible, they did many of the things that we just said absolutely don't do if you're an RO, and not just the things that are like annoying, like saying the word shooter before every command and stuff like that, but the ones that actually like
incompetent or inconsistent.
Yeah, or all three of those
or some
things.
combination thereof.
Like, yes, changing the way that stages need to be shot based off of how they shot it, things like that. Like, you know, like on a like match ruining level bad. Mm-hmm. 2 of those 3 were at the same match. 1 was at a different match. So here's the thing: out of 100 ROs, 97 of them basically doing a good job. 20 of them doing an amazing job. 3 of them doing a terrible job. We're in a pretty good spot. People are doing overall pretty darn good.
And I think
So-
I know a lot of the matches, a lot of the big matches, they pride themselves on having a good crew.
Yep.
We at Multigun Nationals, we actually are very picky about who we let in. It's kind of a cult. Just because that match is still kind of getting rebranded. All right. So we're trying to kill old USPSA and introduce new USPSA. Takes a while to replace those bad impressions with good impressions. And so we're very averse to potentially letting a bad apple into our group. So when we were approached, they were like, hey, we like the way you guys do 3-gun. We want you to do that for USPSA. Our condition was you have to let us use who we want to use. So it's a group, and essentially, we let established people come back first because obviously we know them and we know who they are. And then also a big thing from the match director side, I try to respect. I really treasure volunteer equity. Volunteer equity is a hell of a thing to waste. So at events that I run, I try very hard now. We used to just anybody who wants to help, come on in. We'll find something for you to do. We have been overstaffed before. It's been several years, but we have been overstaffed before. And that's disrespectful of people's volunteer time. So now we try to have a list of there are jobs. We need this many people. We need this many butts in seats. And we fill those. And so off of last year, everybody who wants to come back, we slot them in. The Delta is who we look for off the new list. And we try to vet some of them as much as we can. I think now for multi-gun nationals, pretty much we're going to try, we're actually going to check references. There was an incident, we didn't fire somebody, but they're not coming back. And it was somebody that we didn't really know. So it's like one of those things, especially if people hear this podcast and they apply to multi-gun nationals, I'm going to hit you back with, hey man, yeah, we're going to put you on the list, but we try to keep it to known people first, and then we see who we have room for. And that's why, because we're trying to source the best people, the best officials that we can, so that you, the customer, have the best experience possible. So for the most part, match directors take pride in who they source. Sometimes they get desperate and they got to plug a hole with somebody, but plug a vacancy in employment, not a bullet hole. That came out wrong.
Words mean
yes,
things.
sometimes there are people that get plugged in there, and it was because that was the best they could find in lieu of there not being anyone. But for the most part, they're trying to do a good job. I also think our sport is small enough that I really do think everyone who participates in the sport really should help somewhere in some way. Being a sponsored shooter is not helping. So there was an era of time where everybody helped at a match somewhere. Like your home match was the one that you helped with. And we've kind of gotten away from that, but there are a lot of jersey wearing pros that do work a match. They do work a match somewhere. Some of them work more matches than others. But I really do think, and you don't, maybe ROing is not your thing, but there's all kinds of talent required to help at matches. We need scorekeepers. We need administration people. We need marketing people. We need sponsorship, prize table people. There's all kinds of things to do. But if you're going to stay in the sport for a long time, I really do think that you are obligated informally to help somewhere on some level. Some of us do that more than others. I know I worked a lot of matches last year, and it was usually an instance of if I didn't do it, the match wasn't going to get off the ground. There weren't enough people, I would have loved to have shot the whole shotgun series and not worked any of those matches so that I could just focus on shooting, but that didn't happen. So I do think the sport is really dependent on people being willing to step up. And I think people want to do a good job. They just have to know what a good job is. And I hope that's what we've laid out here in episodes like this. but we need people in this role, and so we kind of need them to understand what the role is, and then we need people to be willing to do it, because there's a finite number of us to facilitate this sport.
Yep, 100%. All right, well, we didn't do this question on a previous podcast because we were like, this might take a minute, and it did. I'm looking at the timer right now, and we've been recording for over an hour and 50 minutes, making it one of our longest episodes ever. I don't think we've done a 2-hour episode yet, so we're going to call it, ladies and gentlemen. So, now that you know that you should just pull out your overlay if somebody asks for an overlay, keep your overlays handy so you don't have to go back to your bag and get one. This is On the Perf, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye, everyone.